Good morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of XR Talk Show. Hi, guys. So, we need a topic today. So, today's topic is going to be JavaScript security or Emacs Lisp regular expression. Okay, we can do Emacs Lisp regular expression. But Emacs Lisp regular expression, yeah, we can do that. But JavaScript security, what to talk about that? You see, the word security is very much abused because what does it mean security? Security problems, in my biased opinion, originates from the Unix, from the Unix philosophy, from the Linux, from these hackers. There you came up. It's from there you got these hackers. The origin of the hacker concepts, and from there, from hackers to crackers, they love code obfuscation, golf, those kind of thing. And the Unix security, yeah, well, okay, let's talk about that security. For example, the Unix Pestilence. Let's go to programming block, okay, startup, uh, and hack the planet, and anti-hack year 2K. Okay, let's go there. There is a the nature of Unix philosophy. That's not that. Why software suck? Uh, are you intelligent enough to understand HTML5? The condition of industrial programmers: learn Lisp in 10 days. Yeah. Why change when it ain't broken? This is well, and the bug reporting attitude, that's from open source ideology, the fanaticism. Bug report. Whenever you have something, uh, why does it say leave in 24 minutes? I don't know. 42 minutes. I don't know. So anyway, I'm starting to get into this topic, but the JavaScript security, there is something I want to show you. Jargons of software industry. What is scientific? All these are written around 2000 to 2010. So there is a article about Unix pestilence. Let's see, I can find it, where we can see how secure is Unix. When you talk about Unix or Linux, Linux came after, before it's Unix. What's in hackers' mind is that Unix is the most secure operating system. And they laugh at Microsoft. They of course, yeah, oh, Microsoft virus every day, malware every day, this and that. But actually, the truth is Unix is the most insecure operating system on earth. Let me show you. Okay. uh Unix operating, so Unix pestilence. I have so many articles that over the 20 years they get they get, it's hard to find them. Okay, let's search for pestilence. Unix pestilence. Okay, the free software. Okay, so they all go back to. Okay, let's just go to my directory. Oops. Copy. Go to this page. Go to diet. Go to pestilence. Okay, go to index. Go to Usoft. Free books. This page. Okay. The Unix pestilence. This is written in 2003. By the way, there is this famous quote. This this quote was very popular throughout 1990s at least. So it says, I liken starting one's computing career with Unix, say as a undergraduate, to being born in East Africa. It is intolerably hot. Your body is covered with lice and flies. You are malnourished and you suffer from numerous curable diseases. But as far as young East African can tell, this is simply the natural condition and they live within it. By the time they find out differently, it's too late. They already think that the writing of shell scripts is a natural act. This is a very popular quote in 1990s. When you look at Unix history, there is the Unix. By the way, it's a antithesis of Lisp. Back in those days, in 1970s or 80s, that's beyond my time. I only began to study computers in 1990, and to use a computer in 1990, but only in 1998 I began to do Unix and get into Emacs stuff. But so 1970s and 1980s, there is a contention between or flame war, like religious war, like Emacs versus Vim. So there's a flame war between Unix and ITS and Lisp, basically the Lisp programmers, the Lisp camp. That's very contentious, just like Perl versus Python, Mac versus PC, Common Lisp versus Scheme Lisp. Each group flame each other, all day, every day. So it's a Unix versus multics. The origin of the name is a pun on multics, multix. Okay, let me show you. Let me type it out. So close that, close that, close that. Let's go to talk page. Close that. So go to today's talk show page. Let's just paste that. And so there is multix. Okay, multics is a operating system. Okay, so there's a Wikipedia. I don't know nothing about this operating system because it's before my time. It's really hard to understand. And so there's multics, there's ITS, there's several others. Basically, they are usually centered around artificial intelligence research. Well, probably not exactly, but I don't know this. I'm not there, so I don't know this well. So, but when you when you try to understand history before your time, you get concepts mixed. But anyway, it is true that basically there is the Lisp camp and there is the multics camp. Then there's Unix. They are enemies. Okay, Unix versus Lisp or Unix versus multics. So these people, multics designers, and they don't like Unix, and Unix people and Unix and C. I like to say Unix and C, they are shit. They bootstrapping each other. C boots Unix, Unix boots C. We are the fascist. We are the that's the thing. That's their selling point. They are fascist. They are the most brainless. No design, no architecture, no extensibility, no thought, no thinking. Basically the philosophy of Unix, okay, or C, the design of C. Everything, whenever you design a language or create a software, architect, whatever, design, whenever you have a decision to make for the Unix or C philosophy, it's easy, very simple. Pick whatever is the most easy to implement and the fastest. That is the Unix philosophy. Okay, whenever you have a design decision, just pick whatever it's most easy to implement, most simple to with respect to implementation, easy to do. Like you don't know anything, you don't know nothing, you just, oh, this is, I can do it this way, then you just do it that way. And fast, that is the essence of the Unix philosophy, the Unix operating system, the Unix design. C the design of the C programming language. Okay, it's worse. That's why I hate it so much. Now again, my opinion is kind of biased. It's kind of so I'm saying things this way. That's kind of dramatic, but uh, but you can say that's kind of there's probably there's unbiased way to say it, but you get the idea. I'm just going to say whatever. Um, just like the Unix philosophy, there's no scientific basis, cannot be verified whatsoever. They say Unix philosophy, small is better. The KISS principle, keep it simple. And the Eric Raymond guy, that he's a crackpot. That's Unix philosophy. There's no basis whatsoever. In science, when you do science, there's a common thought. There's a common principle, verifiability. Or in philosophy, there's a school of philosophy called analytic philosophy, meaning that you analyze, well, there's a lot to it, but basically meaning you approach philosophy in a scientific way. So you analyze, what it says. For example, does God exist? First of all, you try to state what exactly it means scientifically. So what does God exist? What does it mean? How can we prove it or disapprove it? By first of all understanding, you know, how can we, so if this is a statement, whether it's true or false, but you have to have a way, so I can, so this, if this happens, then we know it's false. You have to have a solid verifiable way to falsify it. Otherwise, it's not science, because otherwise, God, or you can say it exists or doesn't exist, and your reasoning changes. Because this, what does it actually mean? Does that mean you can see someone who is God, or does it mean there's just like you analyze the language that anyway, that this school kind of a scientific approach to philosophy is called analytic philosophy. It's one of the founders is Bertrand Russell, this logician and the pacifist, who is my favorite author, kind of my, let's say, top probably top one, top two, the Western author, my favorite. So in the same way, when people say Unix philosophy, they have a bunch of um, you know sayings about Unix philosophy. This that it's not, it's just code slogans. There's no way to verify it, because I know, well, I know so much about this, because anyway. So I was saying multics. So let's go back to security. Okay, Unix security, right? Most people are thinking Unix is the most secure system, but let me show you this joke. Okay, you can see, you study Unix. Unix is actually the least secure of all, almost of all operating systems, even compared to Microsoft NT. Because Microsoft NT back in, let's say, 1995, it's new. It's got 1 years old. Starting around 1995 or so. You know, but Unix has been around. In 1995, Unix has been around for 20 years. So if you compare, obviously, you have already 20 years, and you are still so bad, so very bad. And meanwhile, the Microsoft NT is new. On the other hand, let's put another perspective. Okay, so one thing most Unix people will say, okay, look at Microsoft operating system. You have viruses every day. Throughout. Today it's less. Today it's more secure. But let's say since 1993, the first Windows version, up to 2010, on Windows, you have virus every day. You have virus from all vectors, the so-called vectors. You get virus or malware, ransomware, and all this. And it's very easy to get them. even if you are very careful, because I used Windows as my main system from from 1990 from 2009 for 2 years, 2 to 3 years, from around 2010 to 2012, something like that. um, I gotta show you my articles, but okay, so I got to show you my articles. So many articles I have to show. um, Unix, let me just type it out. Unix breakfast, so that we don't forget. And switch to Windows from Mac. Okay, let's search it. Sorry, switch Windows to Mac. Why I am switching from Mac to Windows. So this is my article that details how why I switched. Uh, okay, and so I switched to Windows for Mac in 2009. Before that, it's 19 years of Mac as my home system. I've been doing Unix sysadmin for Solaris since 1998. So I switched to Windows for from 2009 to 2000. Then I switched back. Then I switched to Linux from 2009 to 2012, I think. Then I switched to Linux for like 3 or 4 years. Then my experience of Linux is crap. It's because all these years, I haven't used Linux, but of course you hear it, for 10 years, for 20 years, Linux being around, they so around 2010, no, around 2000, year 2000, I was, sysadmin for Solaris, all these Unix, SGIX, IRIX, IRIX from SGI's Unix. Let's start to talk about this SGI. Okay, XRD SGI. Let me show you some of the logos. SGI logo visualization. SGI has the most wonderful logo, the most well designed logo. This is SGI. SGI is Silicon Graphics. It's one of the most, back in 1990s, is one of the most respected and loved by hackers. They are part of the Unix. They create IRIX, which is one of the Unix operating system. IRIX. There are many Unixes. There's AIX from IBM, AIX, HPUX from Hewlett Packard, IRIX from Silicon Graphics. Silicon Graphics is most well known for creating computer graphics, visual Hollywood visual effects. Like they created the Jurassic Park movie, the first one, which is like it's revolutionary. They are most known for that, for computer graphics advancements. But then they bankrupt because came out. PC becomes more and more popular. Back then you have all these Unixes. They run on so-called workstations. You call them workstations. Okay, you have a box, like sometimes pizza box. They call. You can find on the web. There's a lot of pictures. You search for SGI. They have hardware. Though those cost a lot of money. $10,000, $20,000. But then PC in 1990s and 2000, PC became cheaper and cheaper. The Intel CPU replacing the Silicon Graphics and all these Unixes. They use they use some microsystems chips and other chips. Anyway, so PC took over and basically that bankrupt SGI. Because all these CAD software they run on PC much cheaper, like $300, then. But if you want to run on SGI, it's like $10,000, things like that. So they bankrupt. SGI is also known for open that the worst technology. What's the what's the technology for computer graphics? That they released they become open source. after they went bankrupt. That as I mentioned before, when you are bankrupt, when your software has no value, you become open source. That open someone say it. And you guys know. I'm pretty sure you guys know. Bartholomew and Seema say it. What's a computer graphics as for programming games, the low level computer graphics, one of the worst technology. Um, Sorry, SGI. So let me copy that. So we digressed into SGI and SGI, and so let's go back to the Unix breakfast. Okay, the Unix breakfast. Um, so yeah, the Unix history, Debian, the open source fighting with each other. DirectX, no, DirectX is from Microsoft. There is the open source version called I can remember it. It's a um, WebGL, OpenGL, yeah, OpenGL from Silicon. Yes, IP man, thank you. Yeah, OpenGL, that's from Silicon Graphics, SGI. They bankrupt, then they release, it becomes open source. It's not like, oh, we bankrupt, let's do it. It's when they do that, they always say, "Oh, we are enthusiastic. We support freedom of humanity, things like that. We support open source, freedom of humanity. Therefore, today we are announcing that we are releasing this OpenGL to the open source community. Oh yeah, everyone is like applauding. Why they do that? Because they bankrupt. They have no, it's no, they failed. There's no way to make money. They are bankrupt. That's what they do. It. Same thing happened with Java. Okay, Java is more complicated story. Same thing happened with Java from the Sun Microsystems, one of the most evil uh, company. People at that time, people hate Microsoft. I don't actually. Well, you can say I'm always contrary, but I don't see much bad about Microsoft. What I see is that some microsystems fuck everything they do. They control Java. They don't want Linux to succeed. Java. Beginning with 1995 up to they like it's all Unix. Okay, they could easily make Java the great language for Linux, but they don't want to because Linux is open source. They have no way to make money, so they tightly control Java. So they make sure that Java does not run well on Linux. Okay, that's what Sun Microsystem did for a decade when they are like reigning the .com days. Sun Microsystems. They want to sell Java so that the Java runs on Solaris, the Sun Microsystems operating system well, and they want it to run on Sun Microsystems hardware. They sell. I have. Back then I have. I have. Each box is like $40,000, 40 grand for a mini server. Um, yeah, the Sun Microsystems evil, and when then all these companies, Sun Microsystems, next, do I have the there's a lot history here. Okay, NetBSD next operating system is also bankrupt. This is by Steve Jobs when he got kicked out from Apple by John Sculley because there's a fight. Um, anyway, Sun Microsystems, Apple, all this company, and Netscape, of course, AOL. Netscape failed because Microsoft, the browser, they are better than the Netscape browser in every way. It's faster, it's more standard compliant. HTML and CSS, just began, to become standardized. They so Microsoft, back then most Unix people will say, "Oh, Microsoft, they do evil. They bundle their operating system with their browser so that it wiped out the Netscape. Uh, I don't believe that. That's false. That's just false from my own observations. Uh, Microsoft Windows. Let me search. Okay, let me show you. Microsoft hatred. Uh, I got tons of articles on those on Microsoft hatred. So there are like 7 articles about all this period of time from 1998 to around 2005. Okay, this one is written in 2002. In response to Eric Nagum, the well-known common Lisp troll. So you can read it in detail, and so Microsoft hatred. They I detail. For example, you can so this are history. Okay, so Microsoft history, Microsoft hatred frequently asked questions. From this article, you can see what are the thinking. Every programmer, so in particular the Unix people, they what they say about Microsoft every day. So I'm fighting with them. I retort. Uh, you know, and Microsoft hatred and God. Yeah, communism. And this. What is monopoly? Apple or Google or Microsoft? Okay, this is particularly interesting. There's a quote that becomes viral in 2010. It says it's on Twitter. Okay, welcome to the new decade. Java is a restricted platform. Google is evil. Apple is a monopoly, and Micro are the underdogs. Microsoft are the underdogs. This quote became viral, with millions of shares, mostly from programmers, especially the hacker types. Why? Because it rings a bell. It stands true. Because you see what they say. You see, before 2010, everyone hates Microsoft. Everyone thinks Apple is a good guys, Google is a good guys. And some microsystems or Unix is a good guys. But now in 2010, you can see even 10 years ago, 2010, Apple, Java is become Java by the time it's already sold to Oracle. Yeah. So Oracle is, no, the hackers don't like Oracle. I don't like Oracle neither. Oracle is bad. Okay. So Java is now considered to be, not open source. Java story is very complex. It's like half open source, have not, then at one time then lawsuit, then it's not open source. And Stallman, for example, Richard Stallman one time says, Java is a trap. You search Richard Stallman, Java is a trap. You can find his website on Free Software Foundation. Okay, Java is a trap. Then around 2008 also, he reverted because Java did, they started to, okay, finally they are going to release it as some free software sanctioned open source, free software license. So then Richard Stallman posted an essay saying, "Oh, we welcome. Finally, it's a great move. We welcome some microsystems." Or was it Oracle? It was Sun Microsystems, I think. Before Sun Microsystem went bankrupt. Okay, Sun Microsystem went bankrupt around 2008 also. So Richard Stallman reverted, saying, "Oh, now Java is great. Thank you for Sun Microsystems. Now I approve it." Richard Stallman. So you can see then Google is evil. You can see the perception of Google before 2010 is, it's a company that does no evil. We helped it because it's great in every way. They have a motto in their company, do no evil, and their software is just fantastic in every way, really, back then. Then, but starting around 2010, that's about the right time. They are becoming evil because they lie. They control the web search engine so that it only show their own products and their website, things like that. And lots of cases reported by the news media every day. Because they say this, but they actually they do that. leaked information or things like that. They started to do all that kind of things, even starting around back in 2010. And Apple is monopoly. Yeah, that's a perception. Even 10 years ago. Because why? Because iPhone. The phone Apple made it popular, and they have tight control and censorship. They have so-called walled garden. They don't allow anything that disagree with them. For example, there are so many bad stories about Apple. For example, one thing they do is that for example, today on Apple, they have ad blocks, but they only block Google's ads. Google's ads, their own ads flows through on iPhone. That's what they do. And back then in 2010, they also do heavy censorship. For example, it's on the web. At one time they ban porn, for example. And Steve Jobs was famous for saying, "Oh, if you want that, go elsewhere," something like that. And also, they banned, for example, the Sama Kotra, that the Indian classic on erotic, on how to make love. Basically, Kama Sutra, the Indian, 2,000 years old classic. So Apple banned it. And lots of other stories, things like that. So Apple, because they want to, why Apple do that? But all these companies, they do what they do. There's only one simple reason that can account all, because they just want to make money. They don't care about, on the surface they say they care about morality and ethics, but actually they don't. They just say those things. They have PR departments, 1,000 employees in PR department, in lawyers, in patent lawyers, and the PR department is an army. Every day they understand psychology. They hire psychologists, so they can create these logos and mantras and stuff, so that make you believe they are doing good, and swept away ugly things they don't want you to hear. All these companies. And Microsoft, back in 2010, 10 years ago, Microsoft is like, nobody is talking about Microsoft. They are just like this, because Microsoft, they failed. Microsoft, their browser failed. For 10 years, their IE browser is the biggest, and they do nothing to it. It's pretty lousy, because they stopped. Once they won the browser war in 2000, in year 2000, they stopped updating anything to it, because they don't want the web to grow. They want their operating system. That's their bread and butter. The web, they have nothing to do with it. While Google, their bread and butter is the web, ads. Therefore, Google every day is pushing web technology. We open source. We push open WebGL. The graphic. They push everything. JavaScript. That's Google, because that's where Google's money came from. And Apple is pushing for the phone. Walled garden phone. And Microsoft, they failed in their phone. They are the first to create, the phone with touch and stuff. But Microsoft is not good marketing, and basically, so that's, you see, this quote went viral in 2010, and from this you can see, you get thought about history. And there's Netscape. Okay, this story, this essay is my story and my documentation of Netscape, the browser, how they failed. So this is around 2002. From 2008 to 2002. Netscape browser. It's the web becomes popular. The boom.com days. The web, everything is Amazon, eBay, Yahoo. They become popular. And Microsoft, they entered the web late, and they don't have nothing. But however, so So they started to create the IE browser, for free. They try to, and every version since it began, every version of Microsoft IE browser is better than Netscape in every aspect, in memory usage, in speed, in standard conformance. Back then it's HTML3. Okay, I think it's HTML3. And CSS just began in 1997 also. Okay, CSS. Back then CSS is a new concept. Not many people embrace it yet. Before CSS, you have font font attributes. For example, you write things like, for example, let me show you. So we got a new paragraph. You say font equals to Arial, for example. So that's how you do it. And then you say, I guess you say color equals to, is there a color? Yeah, I think so. Something like that. Color red. Okay, that's how you do it. There's no CSS. And CSS begin around like, let's make it. Okay, so CSS began around 1997 or something like that. The spec, but it wasn't. It took many years for it to become accepted. Because when something began, a technology began, usually nobody is sure it's going to survive or not. Some company support it, sanction it, some company doesn't. You don't know yet. So only until 5 years later you'll see whether it's survive or not. So for example, back then, another thing popular is VRML, which is like a 3D system for the web. That died. That back then in around 2000, it's hugely popular. Like every day you hear it on the web. You have a plugin for VRML, which it stands for virtual reality markup language. Okay, it's for the web. So you supposedly you can see 3D stuff on the web. That failed, for example. But back then, for like 4 years, 5 years, it's extremely popular. And let's make these. Okay, so you got these things, and VRML. So yeah, CSS. So from 1998 to around 2002. Okay, when Netscape died, all these years, every version of Microsoft IE is better than Netscape in every way. I mean, technically, we're not talking about politically, but every technical detail. I have a my own record of it. This is my opinion. You can check it out. Netscape crap. And the famous Jamie Zawinski, he also has a say. So finally, Netscape went bankrupt. They got bought out by AOL. Then they think, oh, let's release it as open source. Helps humanity. Anyway, that also failed until 4 years later it became Mozilla, and they rewrote everything. Then it become Firefox. Then Firefox gradually became, after for 5 years, it gradually eat into the Microsoft IE, and Microsoft IE has no improvement since 2002. Once Microsoft won the browser war, they stopped updating anything. That's because that's not where they make money. They don't want the web to grow. Um, then every day you hear on the web is how Microsoft is evil and this or that. But I don't agree, because it's Microsoft browser. Well, it was better than Netscape in every way, and also it's more standard compliant to W3C's HTML and CSS standard than Netscape in every version. you know. But the Microsoft hatred is kind of just the trend, just because, or particular because these Unix people, that it's a trend. Everyone love to, even today. You can see, anyway. So let's go back to the security thing. There is the article. Um, there is the article I want to show you how, just like anecdotal story about how Unix is the most insecure operating system. And by the way, here is a ad for Microsoft back in year 2000. It's funny. So Microsoft created this ad in German. So Bartholomew, you have to tell us what does it say. Actually, I have a translation here, but anyway, that's Microsoft ad. Um, so let's go back. There is the. Let me just post this. Okay, my face blocks part of the sentence. Okay, so you can see it here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's go back to. I want to go back to that security thing. Um, okay. So okay. I don't. It's linked here somewhere, but the easiest way to find it is to search for Sali Unix breakfast. Breakfast the Unix way. Okay. Breakfast the Unix way. Uh, wait. The Unix way. Fast food the Unix way. Okay. This is the article. So you can. Okay. Yeah. Just search for fast food the Unix way. So you'll find it. So let me get that. Um, so let's. I guess let me post the link then. Copy URL, paste it, then make it the make it title, and then spam the chat. Okay, let's go spam the chat. Okay, so there's a problem with this chat because when you have a return, it doesn't respect the return. It merge them together. But I suppose they still work. So let's just post it. So these are the what the you have to post one by one, I guess. Post, enter, back. Next, copy, back. Post, enter, back. Next, copy, back. Post, enter, back. That's okay. That's some of my articles. Oops. Delete. Okay. Unix philosophy. Unix philosophy, fast food the Unix way. Now this is a humor. Okay, this is very funny. Read it. I try to find the origin of this joke. I think it's from 1984, and the author might be Bob Pierce, but I cannot be sure. But it's very funny. So now let me read the comments then. Uh, So actually, I need to go to take a piss. I have a lot drink here. So let's paste let me read the comments quickly. Let me check all the comments addressed to me. Okay, I'm gonna check all the comments addressed to me right now. So what are we calling security? What you say it means? Yeah. So that this, the concept of security, especially since 10 years ago, it gets abused. Like everything is like you just say security issues. What do you mean security? I have a big problem with the security because computer languages, there's no security issue whatsoever. You see, because computer languages they don't, any security is like just human. It's like you hack. That's why anyway, that topic, it takes a lot explanation, because security, like what do you mean security? For example, if you have a login system, for let's say Unix login system or web login system, that there is a security. Because for example, if I create a website, I create a login system, but but if I don't implement, if I don't understand stuff well, I lousy implementation, then anyone can easily bypass it. Or if I use plain text, to log password, and my connection to database is not encrypted, then anyone can hack into it. Anyone can simply listen to the HTTP traffic, then they know all the passwords. That is insecure. That is security issue, and that the blame of that is me, the programmer, because I'm a lousy programmer. I did that. So if you have a password, that's a security issue. But then security is abused. Like everything. Every hacking, everything, when someone can break into your system, or any, or even Java on the web, JavaScript on the web is called security. It's not security. Like, what do you mean security? If you're talking about security, everything, computer programming, everything is insecure. Everything is security, because I go to your home. If you don't have a password on your system, on your Mac or Windows, I can just use it. That's security problem. That's not really security, because you choose not to set up a password, because you think your laptop is only used by you. And by the way, vast majority of laptop users, they don't, and on Windows for example, they don't have a password. They don't turn it on, because most people, they don't know the what the heck is password. They don't want it, because once they have a password, they forgot. They don't want it. Most your mom and your parents, your grandpa, anyone who is not a programmer, they don't want a password. That is why even on Linux, many Linux systems, they start to create a system so that there's no password by default. Login system, no password, because this is the way most people want to use computers. Once you have a password, they don't. It's too complex. I know, because since I wash dishes to survive. I know a lot of people working in restaurant. They are not programmers. They have no idea like what is a programming. They have no idea what is this Google. They barely heard what is Google. They don't know what is web search. They don't know what's the meaning of a browser. They just use the phone. They know press this to talk to people. Press that. Oh, that's what they know. And on the phone, what's their password? Their password is their phone number. Most of them even don't have a password. Yeah, I mean, they don't even have that. If they do have a password, their password is their phone number, and there is no possible way for you to convince them or tell them, because they don't know. I mean, you have to realize the degree, the extent that they don't. They are not programmers. You have to realize how much, if you are a programmer, you have to realize how much of a well you are living in, a big bubble. You don't understand how normal people are working. How normal people, non-programmers, non-technical people are actually are. Except maybe your friends, the young people who go to Instagram, Facebook, or whatever, or these social networks. They know, okay, they know. But most people, they vast majority, they are not programmers, they are not tech, they don't know, and they don't want to, they don't want the password. Not even to mention Emacs, like the Emacs phonetics, they say, oh, if you cannot figure out what is meta key, then you should not use Emacs. Meta key. Most people do not even know what the fuck is control command key. I know, because you have to, most programmers, we live, each person, we have a lifestyle, and we have friends who are all in this lifestyle. You don't talk to people work, for example, in America, you say the coal miners, the people working at Walmart, the people working at McDonald's, those people, you talk to those people, they don't know what the fuck you talking about. Control meta, control my ass. They don't even know what is a control key on a computer. Okay, so these Emacs phonetics, or these programmers. Um, so Emacs regular expression, that's probably gonna be tomorrow then, because we already 50 minutes. What are coding security? So I appreciate the bashing. So Sima says, I appreciate the bashing, but what are we coding secure? How might we measure it? Exactly. You have to define what is security. You know, what is the value proposition? What is value proposition about what? Sima says about the OpenGL or SGI. What is the value proportion? Yeah, I forgot what do you mean by that. So comments. Okay, one more comments. So Iris Gasha, good morning. Iris says, I want to ask you something. I really like the Kinesis Advantage 2 keyboard, but it does not ship to my country. Yeah, that's too bad. Which one do you recommend me as a similar as possible? Okay, so I just started that by mistake. Notes. I don't know what that is. Okay, so let's quit notes. Uh, so Kinesis, what's the alternative to Kinesis Advantage if you don't have, if you cannot buy it? Well, there is a do-it-yourself keyboard. There's a tactile. These are highly recommended. But this one is for do-it-yourself. So you have to buy parts. You have to spend days to assemble it. You have to buy the electronics, the chips, the keycaps, and you have to 3D print, the thing. Then you have to assemble it. There's an instruction on the website, and this is great. This is even better than Kinesis. But altogether, you are going to spend something like $400 USD, I think. He told me, because I met him. He told me, it's even, yeah, you have to spend like almost even more expensive than Kinesis. So you buy the parts and you assemble. Okay, so that's one option. And similarly, there are these others. All these are do-it-yourself. This one is called tactile manual foam. Tactile manual foam. Yeah. So, and this one is also do-it-yourself, but I don't have experience on this tactile manual foam. You see, their thumb keys is kind of funky. The idea of the thumb keys here is that you press inward. So the idea is that they think the thumb, the natural movement is pressing inward, not downward. So that's why they created this, inward press for the thumb. I'm not sure it's good. I never tried it actually, but I doubt it's, I'm not sure. So anyway, there are. By the way, this tactile manual foam, and there's also Colossum. This one is from Japan. It becomes harder to get info because they also have a website. They sell the parts, but this one manual foam is from Japan, so you have to kind of read Japanese, or you can do it, but it becomes hard. And also this one is from Japan. Do it yourself. But anyways, and there are all these other people. This one, I'm not. I don't think has a website. It's not polished, but you can. But it's on Reddit. You can, for example, talk to him, ask him how he made it, things like that. Anyway, all these are do it yourself. The thing is, if you want this curved surface, it gets complex. Okay, so and if you want to buy it directly, of course, there's also the Motron. Motron is the other alternative, but it's even more expensive. It's like $500, and I'm it's this one is based on UK, so I think they so if you are in UK or Europe, maybe they ship it there, but otherwise I don't know. But it's even more expensive. Uh, Otherwise, maybe you can try eBay. eBay is or you just have to make do with others, like some of the others. This one is from Japan, also extremely expensive, $500. Um, it's pretty good, but this one is $500. Yeah. Otherwise, I think maybe the easiest way. I don't know, like depending on where you are. So yeah. So Iris, like what country are you are? And also, let me mention, if you buy from China, okay, if you have opportunity to visit China, visit the Shenzhen. Shenzhen is a city above Hong Kong, okay, like 1 hour drive above Hong Kong. City Shenzhen, that's a big megatropolis. That's a giant city. It's the most famous for the electronic center of China or the world. But anyway, if you buy a keyboard or anything electronics in China, it's very cheap. Okay, it's 5 times cheaper than anywhere else. Okay, like the same thing made in China. You buy in China. Okay, now China, they also have a website called Taobao. Okay, Taobao and a few others. For example, or Alibaba. Okay, for example, let's show Taobao.com. They have a few, and you buy them like they are 5 times cheaper. The ones made in China, the Chinese brand. But if you buy, for example, Logitech or Microsoft, the American brand, then it's not cheaper. Okay, then in those cases you don't want to buy from Taobao. You rather buy from Amazon, elsewhere. But you go to the Chinese, Taobao website. I don't have JavaScript on, so that's why it's not showing anything. But they have tons, hundreds of varieties. For example, all these keyboard varieties I show, it's on Taobao, similar. People have made and many people build it and they sell it. For example, I see these. For example, let's see, do it yourself. For example, I see this, I can make it myself, and I can sell it on Taobao, and much cheaper. So there are people doing that on Taobao. You see tons of varieties, all these, even far more than what I have here. And for example, look at this one. This one, spectacular. This one is on Taobao, okay, AliExpress, okay, that's another Chinese website. AliExpress. I don't have JavaScript on, that's why it's not showing. But let's go to it on Google Chrome. Okay, 256 to $570. It's you can buy it. So, but anyway, let's go back to the design of things. This one is excellent. I have seen no other design like this. Why is it excellent? Because it has one, two, three, four knobs and wheels. these knobs like volume control, these wheels, these are great, fantastic, okay? Because these knobs and wheels, they are the best input system to control anything, any command that has forward and backward, or next, previous, or left, right, or up and down, or volume up, up down, volume up down, scroll wheel up down. Any kind of command that has a you know opposing uh, command, and any of those that needs repetition, like you want to repeat fast, such as page up. You want to page up 5 times, 10 times, or scroll up 10 times, or next buffer, previous buffer, next tab, for example, like what I'm doing. You can hold down. You can hold down to just like go through them. Right now it's loading, that's why it's slow. But otherwise, normally I can like fly through them. For example, let me do it now. I can so for this kind of, and also whenever you have this kind of commands, for example, page down, page up, or another, for example, backward word, forward word, like I'm going backward paragraph. Oh, hey, hold on, I want to reverse direction, downward, forward paragraph. Hold on, I want to reverse direction. All these commands, you have tens of these pairs of commands. Typically, they require repetition. Like the better, if you can repeat them, that would be fantastic. Also, often you want to reverse direction. For example, forward word. Oh wait, I want backward word. I passed. I want backward word. Or for example, forward. Right now I'm forwarding to the next right bracket, and backward. Any of these commands, you have tens of them. The best physical input control for them is a wheel. Okay, is a wheel kind of thing, wheel or knobs. The wheel can come in various forms. For example, where are we? Did we just close it? Okay, wheel. For example, you have volume knobs, or you have like this. This is like mouse wheel. Yeah, that's a base control. So anyway, so you see this Chinese one. It's on AliExpress. You can buy. Uh, so I think this is fantastic. You just have two of them, but it's expensive. But for example, we were talking about Chinese website, right? We were talking about there are hundreds of varieties. For example, you can see on the side, you have this programmable keypad. You have this programmable keypad with a wheel, and also wheel with a button combination. Only $75. This one $56 USD. If you go to Amazon, you also have that, but it's like $120. So anyway, so that's about Chinese made stuff and Chinese website, much cheaper. And by the way, this is also this website right now, because I'm accessing it through US. I'm in US, California. That's why it's actually more expensive. But if you are actually in China, for example, you buy it. If you are in China, you go to the website. They show the Chinese and renminbi, the RMB, the China money. But if you convert that to US dollar, it's like 5 times cheaper than the US dollar price shown here. So the best thing you want to do, the best thing you can do, if you are, either visit China, go to China. The air ticket is like $700, something like that. $600 one two-way, I guess, cheaper when it's cheap. Then you can go to online, ask a Chinese friend to buy it for you. Or you visit China, you go to Shenzhen, you can buy it physically. Go to Shenzhen. But you do have to watch out. There are lots of cheap, bad quality things. You have to watch out. There are some people who introduce you, which is good, which is bad. Like on YouTube, you might check, search for, Do some research, search for what Chinese product are they good, are they bad. They are, yeah, they are scams, of course. So if you don't speak Chinese, there's something you want to watch out as well. So go to China, visit Chinese website, or go to China, go to the Shenzhen Chinese Electronic Center, or if you are outside of China, you could try one of those uh, indirect websites. Or ask a Chinese friend to buy it for you. Okay. So for example, I'm in California. I speak Chinese. I could buy it for you. You pay me. I cannot do it because I don't have a car. I don't have nothing. I cannot move. Yeah, Shenzhen. And so David says Taobao has fancy keyboards, but don't know if they ship to Europe. Is Europe there is GearBest and AliExpress? Okay. Arius says, but would you have enough precision to stop in the word you want for? Actually, I need to go to bathroom quickly. So be right back in 1 minute. Okay. Be right back in 1 minute. Dion, good morning, Dion. Dion says, my strongest hacker moves are not working. What is your strongest hacker move? So I got this shirt. I don't know what it is. GRS money. Oh, I don't know what that is. It's a arcade or what? Garage. I don't know. It's from my roommate gave it to me. So let's see comments. Okay. So no comment address to me, and we okay. So any more questions? We are over 1 hour now, so we could stop anytime now, I guess. So if there's no particular topic, uh, then maybe that's it for today. Let's go back to my talk page. So we can talk about Emacs regular expression. That we probably reserve it for next time. Actually, few days ago, last week or 2 weeks ago, I did a video on Emacs regular expression. Yeah. So I'm not sure what am I doing with my videos. Right now it's becoming just like my daily chat. It's almost like, it's typical. Actually, that's like what I do. Typical of my stuff. There's no goal, there's no purpose there, and there's no schedule. uh, I'm just doing what whatever comes to mind and do. Like my blogs. There's like lots of, well, typically of things that's of interest to nerds. Unicode, keyboard, programming, math, and symbology. Unicode symbols, programming symbols. But there's a but usually there's no goal, as like as opposed to any people. Like some people, they teach particular thing like Emacs. They focus on that. Or some people teach JavaScript, they focus on educational. Or they teach math, calculus, trigonometry. There's this guy who became famous: calculus, trigonometry, chemistry. But anyway, for me it's almost like it's like random. So my topics sometimes technical, on these programming languages or Unicode, programming language design. And sometimes it's like politics, YouTube. And when you do things like this, usually, yeah. So I'm not sure what am I going with my videos. I'm doing with my videos. I've been doing videos now almost every day for at least half a year now. And every video is like, well, at most you have 100 views. That means, how YouTube counts as a view. That's very interesting because it's very complicated, and it's also highly political. Because it involves money. It's like SEO. There's a lot of drama and people talk about it. Oh, YouTube changed their view count method again, and also they try to keep it secret because otherwise, like I mentioned before in my yesterday or previous talks, this is a huge industry when it comes to websites, ads. There's lots of parties. They are all interested. Scammers, malware. They do anything they can. People get into the industry. They do anything they can to extract money to get ads or things. So this includes YouTube. Like you go to YouTube, there's tremendous amount of, I would say almost more than 50% of YouTube videos, not by they are created solely by bots. By all means, all things people possibly can imagine, they come up to try to get money, to try to put on YouTube ads. For example, robotic voices. For example, you go to YouTube, you'll see tons of news that's like read out by robot. Like for example, what's the current topic today? Hot topic, like for example, gun control. Then you have tons of YouTube about, oh, today, machine voice. They generated mechanically, so people do that. Then you also have all sorts of, anyway. The the main point is that it's all things imaginable. Like you cannot possibly imagine what kind of ways they do it. You cannot possibly even imagine it. Even if you try, sit down and think about it for 1 hour. Why? Because they are literally, I don't know how much, millions or hundreds of thousands, people around the globe. They are all trying to do this because that's how you make money. They have all possible directions, possibly imaginable subject. They are trying to do this. So anyway, when it comes to Google YouTube view count, so that's very contentious and controversial topic because and Google tries to keep it secret because once you cannot tell. If you tell, then all these people will explore it. They will make their video becomes 1 million views. So why is this important? Because that number has a tremendous impact on how people decides to follow you. Yeah, that even though it's silly to if you think about it, that's really silly. Because people want to follow popular people. Stars, movie stars. They want to know what shirt you are wearing today. Like David Bowie, Space Oddity. That's a great song. People want to know what shirt you are wearing today. What you wear today is on the news. Millions of people want to talk about it. Oh, with especially if you are female, then that becomes a fashion. So anyway, so YouTube view count. That's and also while all these people are trying to get trying to exploit ads and so on, YouTube and Google itself is doing the same. They are the evil by themselves because they are trying to make money. They are trying to control it, the view count, whatever algorithms. They use algorithms to control everything. They want to make sure so that meanwhile they filter out. Well, basically what they want to make sure is not really about filter out these bad players or misinformation. That's what they say. Okay, they say they are helping humanity to filter out this bad information, but that's not their real true intentions. What they are really doing is they want to maximize their ads amount, because this happened many times. It's been exposed. For example, for a few months ago, like 3 months ago, there are like tens of thousands videos. Each one is with millions of views that exploit children. Like they have contents that's cartoon, contents for children, where um, where the content is like Spider-Man doing drugs. Spider-Man versus Batman. They shitting on toilet. They drink each other's piss. Yeah, children's cartoon for children, and that's their content. And they are like each one is like 10 million views or something, and there are several accounts doing that. Extremely popular. And you think YouTube don't know that? Of course they know, but they don't do anything to it because they makes them money. Makes them money until this got exposed, by Tim Pool, by lots of people. Then they say, oh, then they ban those accounts. That's YouTube. And this has been, and you don't know, and what most people don't know, yeah, and because even if you follow news, because Twitter, Facebook, they control information. Once you post, they limit how many people, how when you post about something, they limit who will see it. They control. So, but if you are paying attention to this community, these kind of happenings, then and it's not just one person reported. You see, it's like if you are in, like, it's like Emacs. Okay, so modern society is so each community, each news channel becomes very niche. So, for example, I'm Emacs. I know a lot about what's going on in Emacs, but other people, even programmers, they don't know. They don't know. They never heard of what did Richard Stallman do yesterday. They don't know. So, anyways, same thing with these political contents topics. But if you, yeah, I mean, now like now, if you hear me, now you know. Now you go to YouTube, you search for children's video, Spider-Man, controversy. Then you see lots of reports, like hundreds website all reporting it. And this is only one of the incident. YouTube. There's a lot. Like every month there's big and small, every things going on. So YouTube, Google extremely evil. Um, okay, that I think that's about it. What can you do? There's almost nothing you can do. So you think about modern society, you wonder whether it's getting better or worse. It's hard to say. Uh, and of course, today there's happenings with Hong Kong. You probably heard of it. But if you are American, I probably can guess what's your opinion is, about Hong Kong. Basically, China is evil. They control. They are dictatorship. They are controlling information. Therefore, you support Hong Kong. Yes, please, Hong Kong students. Look at all these millions of students, innocent civilians on the people. All they want is peace. All they want is a little freedom. You know, that's all they want. And you have this million of people. So in China, this powerful big dictatorship, with police beating people. That's what you believe. That's what you hear. And in USA, in white countries, you have this basically left versus right. The extreme left is about social justice every day. There's a big fight. Trump over no Trump or anti-Trump. Big fight every day. But when it comes to China, in Western countries, almost everyone agrees China is the bad guy. Hong Kong is good. We all want to support Chinese, the Hong Kong people. We want democracy. We want overthrow the Chinese government, the communists. But that's what you hear. That's what you believe. Of course, I have a different story to tell. But that's gonna be another hour. But it's And so what do you know about Chinese? I mean, do you speak Chinese? Have you tried to talk to Chinese people? Have you tried to hey wait, hold on a second, maybe we can let me look into what's the situation. You never did. Probably you never spent 1 minute to look into, because Chinese, that's not of your concern. That's like, oh, let's hate Microsoft. Yeah, that's a good thing. I don't like Microsoft. God, Microsoft did this evil things. Yeah, Microsoft is so evil. You say it every day on the web. Big why? Because whether Microsoft succeed or Microsoft went to jail has nothing to do with your welfare, well-being. All you care is, yeah, Microsoft is big evil. Yeah, they did evil. They should go to jail. But did you ever spend 1 hour to look into? No. Same thing with China. But if you are Chinese, then you would be interested. Then you look into. Then there's different opinions. You'll start to see different opinions. It doesn't matter if you are in China, in Hong Kong, in Taiwan. You know if you are Chinese, or even outside, but Chinese blood, you see. You start to you start to see different opinions. Okay, you may be with the Hong Kong, or you may be anti-Hong Kong, but you start to see, then it becomes a fight. Just like in USA or white countries, you have the left group, the social justice, the anti-Trump, or you have the right, the Trump. Then you fight every day. You fight for information, fake news. Then you gotta reply to those fake news. Then Twitter is trying to do censorship, and you do your fight. Okay, so I think that's it for today. So if you have any things you want me to comment, put my name to it. Then that's it for today. I think that's uh, yeah. Thanks. So thank you, Iris, for the question about keyboard. Uh, Dion, good morning, Dion. Burn on a steak, blasphemy. So today, today, today is today's rant against. So the first 40 minutes is basically a rant and history of Unix. Yeah, Unix, Netscape, Microsoft, kind of history about those things about and Java and and Mac, Google, Apple, basically history and against the mainstream views, basically, or somewhat about humanity, human animals behavior, the the political behavior of human animals, somewhat characterized via this this Java is a trap, Java war, Lisp versus Unix war, the multics versus Unix war. Oh, Unix, by the way, it came from it's a it's a it's a parody of the multics operating system. So you have multics, then the Unix people came up with Unix. Then it's also a tasteless pun, on the word Unix. That's another reason I hate these Unix people, Unix philosophy, Perl people. Typically, they are tasteless. They don't care. Their personality is this kind of happy-go-lucky. Oh, I don't care. Whatever. Let's have a beer. Whatever kind of people. Now, this is opposed to Richard Stallman, for example. He's not that type. He's not this type of people. He for example, on the other hand, is on the extreme. He's rather very disciplined. He believes in this one thing. He always just like politically say about this his thing. He doesn't. He's not like that. And so anyway, so that's Unix, the history of the term Unix. Yeah, so that's about it for today. So that first hour is about that. Then we talked about 20 minutes on Kinesis versus alternatives and where to buy keyboards and Chinese keyboards and stuff. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. I consider the Chinese state to be defending itself from being vassalized, despite the fact there are many things about the single party system to criticize. Well, my opinion on China is, first of all, I'd like to say, of course, I'm biased. Because I'm biased because I'm Chinese blood, and basically I support China. Okay, but as far as my reasons, okay. With that said, my reason, first of all, I mentioned this before. When you think about democracy, what democracy, the way we believe in democracy. I mean, democracy is particularly U.S. thing, USA, okay, American thing. In the past, American is only 200 years old. Okay, in the history of things, USA is only 200 years old. Okay, they don't have culture. Really, I mean, well, if you want to trace it, the U.S. American thing, they are based on Western thought. Okay, Western thought, which is Europe, and the core of it came from Roman Empire. And where does it come from? Roman Empire, their culture and thought is vastly influenced from Greek culture, Greek mythology. So anyway, that's Western thought. But anyway, back to the thought of democracy. Okay, democracy, freedom. That's Western. Especially today when we talk about democracy, that's mostly Americans from CIA. That's kind of just kind of out of shape. So it's like you have to ask people, what does it mean, democracy? What does it mean exactly? Let's go back to analytic philosophy. What what define? Try to define it. Everyone will have a different. Everyone first of all, you go to the street, ask those students, okay, in college, what ask them to give a definition of democracy. They cannot. They start to you start to see they become extremely silly. They have no idea what they cannot possibly give a coherent definition. Basically what they will say, oh, individual freedom, yeah, freedom to people, freedom rules the country, voting systems. That's the most you get. That's basically something along that lines. Well, anyway, but anyway, then you okay, let me get to the point. Okay, so even if you assume democracy, meaning some sort of democratic ruling system, meaning that people vote, and that's how you govern. Okay, so people vote, then you have the governors or you have presidents. Basically people vote. Even that. So we suppose democracy. That's what you guys want. Okay, that is questionable because if you actually study United States system, okay, politics, if you actually study it, it is far from voted by people. Okay, it's kind of is, but it's kind of not. The how the U.S. government runs, how the whole system, the U.S. system works, is not controlled by people at all. Okay, far from it. You can control nothing from it. Let's put it this way. It's far from what people want. Okay, for example, what's some of the issues of government? Okay, the health system, the foreign policy, the how CIA is watching, look, watching private citizens security, security issues, privacy issues. You have no control. The most you can do is like supposedly you elected president, elected local government, but how you elect, you have all these corporations, the pharmacies, the health insurance companies, the oil companies, Google, for example. They control information, massive. They spend billion. Assuming you are interested, and you look into these issues, then you realize, all these companies they spend billions, influence, control people's thought. So if you watch TV, you are a normal system. If you are a normal system, everything is not true. Then you vote. What are you voting for? Everything is like you are voting for what they spend money on. That's what you are voting for. So you are saying, oh, democracy. Therefore, USA is great because of democracy. the, you know, is that what you truly believe? On the other hand, if you look at history of the world, doesn't matter what region you look at history of the world, all regions, especially Asia, democracy is a Western, the personal freedom, justice, personal freedom. That's a Western philosophy. Okay, that's a Western thought. Most of you are probably Western people, white people. Okay, that's what the social justice term, white people. But anyway, you probably are Western. Okay, but Eastern, in India or in Middle East or Russia or for example or China, especially China, you have more population in China throughout history than most Western countries. Okay, so if you want, China is more actually the more center of the Western thought. But anyway, let's talk about China. That's because that's what I know. I don't know about in Hindu much. I don't know about Middle East much. Okay, although India and the Middle East is also is kind of the cradle of the civilization as well. They say, and also there's Russia. But anyway, I know about China. Okay, that's a big part of human history. So in China, which is basically the center that influenced Japan, and southern China, or like Korea, Taiwan, Vietnam, Singapore, all these other countries. Okay, China. Basically, that's the China culture is the source of everything. So in Chinese culture, you don't have democracy. Okay, I mean you don't have the thought of personal freedom. Okay, that's Western thought. I mean, well, you could say you have that thought. I mean, but it's not. That's kind of a new thought. I mean, that's foreign. What you have instead, what you have is respect elders, respect your ancestor. Do no evil. Okay, that's Buddhism. Do no evil. Like don't do bad things. Okay, that's evil. Don't do bad things. That kind of thing. Okay, that and you have, so it's a culture. So you have these kind of things as the foundation of society. Very different from Western society. Also in China, you have, so you have this harmony, harmony. Like when many Western like to talk about, Tai Chi, Eastern medicine, Yin Yang, those kind of fuzzy things, Taoism. That's the Eastern culture. Where it's not, everything is not like Western, black and white. If needs to be precise. Let's do physics. Logic from the Greek, Euclid. Logic, philosophy. That doesn't happen in China. Even China has, advanced math, more advanced than Western society. Okay, but 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 how you think about things doesn't go that way. You doesn't go by logic. Okay, you don't go by logic. The Chinese philosophy it's kind of always like roundabout, like Tao and Yin Yang. And when I was younger, I hated it. I love the Western philosophy. I love the individual freedom, individuality. I love the liberty, individual freedom. I love the physics, the hardcore logic, precision in language, like English. I love that, and I love the Greek philosophy. I don't. Meanwhile, I don't like the Asian, the tradition of the yin and yang, the Taoism kind of everything. The best thing to do is do nothing. Kind of like this fuzzy, kind of roundabout philosophy. Everything is like that. That's when I was young. That's why I study English, and I know much about the Western things. But now I have a different view. It's kind of, you have to respect the Asian philosophy, because even though it's not, because you can look at what happens in society. It's not, it's just different way of thinking. Okay, you don't. um, so back to the topic. So I was saying, democracy. Everyone is like about democracy, this or that. What, first of all, what do you know about democracy is ill defined. And also, if you actually look at democratic countries, they are not necessarily better. China and elsewhere in history, for period of time, China has always been like no democracy. Okay, in fact, democracy is a new concept. Most of history of humanity, there is no such thing. Democracy, the Western propaganda by American democracy. There's no such thing. Okay, most history of human animals, there's no such thing. And there are wars, there are bad times, there are good times, but there are many period of times people live in harmony, in peace. without the fucking democracy. Okay, and look at white countries, democracy. Yeah, Americans wiped out, genocide, wiped out the entire genetic, the American Indians. That's democracy. That's what you want. Then you have the German happenings. Everyone is, the social justice guy is talking about every day. So what is democracy? That's TV. You watched too much TV. That's what happens. And then comes open source. Yeah, liberty. The Richard Stallman, the liberty. Some, it's like a communism mixed in with communism. Share. Let's share everything, and it's get complex because today the social justice people, the left people, they want communism, and then, of course, then the right people, they don't. They are pro. They are democracy, and also I mean they are also free market. I love free market. Okay, I'm anti, but it's complex. You see, all these politics, it becomes very complex because you have A, B, C, D. They are fighting with each other. You are pro A, but for something you are pro B. But A and B are enemies. So when that's chaos, that's what chaos comes in because that's when the world has becomes ruleless. Everyone is just do whatever that benefits him, pushes whatever ideology that benefits the person, the group. That's chaos. Google is pushing for whatever is good for Google, Twitter, the tech companies, and all these. And China, China, so far I've said kind of positive things about China. But of course, China has done the Communist Party. They have done lots of bad things. But that's not my talk. Okay, that's for you guys to talk about that. The important thing is, and nobody will listen to it, is that we need to talk about things and listen to different opinions. That would be a good thing. Okay, that's it for today. So thank you guys for watching. Bye. Well, let me read the comments for like 30 seconds, but that would be it. So because I like to get the comments in the YouTube video because when people say bye. But anyway, that's it for today. So bye guys. I'm getting hungry and hot, so I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna eat wonton Chinese. I'm gonna pre-cooked. You buy from my roommate takes me to there. You buy the what the Western calls dim sums or wonton. $3 a bag, and you can boil them. That's what I'm gonna eat. So tomorrow's talk is gonna be Chinese food. Actually, not. Well, I don't know what's tomorrow, but actually, I think I should take a break. Yeah, like I said, I'm doing videos every day. It's like maybe 100 people watch a day at best. Sometimes okay, once in a while, every few months, one video gets 700 people watching. Like the last video I did on personality test, usually non-technical stuff. That one got 800 views now. Becomes somewhat popular, 800 views, because that video I was talking about personality test, and personality disorder. That's non-tech. When you talk about that, I think that gets popular. Yeah, but I don't know what I'm doing with my video. I guess just every day is just random chat about things. So tomorrow, what time tomorrow? I don't know. I'm thinking. Okay, let's maybe should we keep talking? tomorrow I don't know what time, so maybe I'll take a break tomorrow. So anyway, so okay, that's it. Bye. Okay, do a series on video teaching Emacs from level 2. Uh, yeah, maybe I should try that. Okay, anyway, I don't know what time tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe no video tomorrow. Bye, guys.